There are nights when the sky feels alive, when shadows twist among the stars and lights move with a will of their own. For decades, countless cameras have captured strange objects gliding across the heavens. Glowing orbs, metallic discs, and silent triangular crafts that vanish as quickly as they appear. Are these just tricks of light and imagination? Or are they signs of something far greater, watchers from beyond, silently observing us from above? On this journey, X-Sight takes you into the heart of the unknown. Real UFO sightings caught on camera. Moments so clear and unexplainable that they challenge everything humans believe about the universe. Stay with this story until the very end. Every frame might reveal a piece of a truth that has been hidden in plain sight, a truth that refuses to stay silent any longer. The alert was nothing special, just a soft chime from a doorbell camera in the quiet suburbs of England. But what it captured was anything but ordinary. On the screen, the sky seemed to pause as though the universe itself was holding its breath. Hovering above the rooftops was a shape so unnatural, it was almost hypnotic. A triangular craft, dark as midnight, drifted silently in the air. Its three brilliant white lights gleamed like unblinking eyes, tracing the edges of a perfect triangle. The sharpness of its structure made it look like an arrowhead, poised to strike. There was no sound of engines, no rhythmic hum, just an eerie silence that seemed to swallow the world around it. In Florida and Texas, witnesses had seen the same silhouette, moving with the same deliberate slowness. Could this be the same entity, crossing oceans as though distance meant nothing, scanning humanity from above? Across the Atlantic, another lens caught another enigma. Over a boat marina in North America, the evening sky turned into a fiery canvas of orange and red as the sun dipped below the horizon. Fishermen and tourists laughed, unaware of what was creeping into their view. Then, silently, like a whisper from another world, a metallic object slid through the sky. At first glance, some thought it was a helicopter, but there was no spinning rotor, no flicker of lights. A witness, sensing something wrong, raised his camera and zoomed in. The truth that came into focus defied every expectation. It was not triangular, not disc-shaped, but something far stranger, a probe-like craft, smooth and symmetrical with no sign of wings or engines. It gleamed in the fading sunlight, reflecting the gold and crimson hues of the sky, as if it belonged more to the stars than to the earth. Its movement was deliberate, almost intelligent, as though it was observing rather than traveling. There was no sound, only the stillness of the marina, broken by gasps when people finally noticed the thing above them. It felt like a scene torn from the frame of a Hollywood science fiction film, yet it was real, captured in raw, unfiltered footage. On a warm night, a couple sat on their front porch, the kind of night where every sound, every whisper of wind, feels amplified. The stars above twinkled faintly, indifferent to human life. Then, out of nowhere, the darkness fractured. Three piercing white lights suddenly appeared, hanging in the sky like jewels. They formed a perfect triangle, each light glowing with an otherworldly brilliance. In the center, a single red light pulsed softly, like a beating heart. The object was massive, looming silently above the treetops. No rumble of engines, no mechanical drone, just a terrifying stillness. As the couple reached for their camera and zoomed in, the outline of the triangular craft became sharp and clear, undeniable. It rotated slowly, deliberately, as if to display its impossible geometry. No aircraft, no drone could ever move like this. It was something far beyond human design. Miles away, deep on a restless sea, a group of fishermen faced an even darker mystery. Out on the horizon, four bright orange lights hovered above the water, equidistant, forming a perfect line. The lights shimmered against the waves, casting strange reflections like fire dancing on the ocean's surface. The fishermen stared, their hands frozen mid-motion, as an icy fear crept into their bones. These were no flares, no ships. They were something alive, something watching. One fisherman with trembling hands lifted his camera. As he zoomed in, the blood drained from his face. Inside the reflective silver hull of one craft, two figures were visible. They were not human. Their silhouettes were slender, their heads slightly larger than normal, and they moved with unnerving precision, as though piloting the ship with thought alone. It was one of the clearest pieces of evidence ever captured, a moment so raw it spread across the internet in days. Even skeptics paused, unsettled by the sharpness of what they saw, two beings from somewhere far beyond Earth, calmly navigating our skies. Over the silent rooftops of Tehran, the sky glowed with a hue that seemed not to belong to Earth. A brilliant green light bloomed across the horizon, bathing the city in a strange emerald radiance. It hovered unmoving, as though anchored to an unseen force. Witnesses watched in awe, their voices hushed, as if they feared disturbing whatever intelligence was behind this spectacle. Some raised their phones and cameras, capturing footage that would soon ripple across the world. A light so vivid, so alien, that no weather phenomenon or aircraft could explain it. 3 months later, thousands of miles away, the same green orb of light appeared in the skies over North America. Its presence was quiet yet commanding, as if the same craft that hovered over Tehran had crossed oceans to return to its silent surveillance. Experts compared both sets of footage frame by frame, noting the same pulsating glow, the same unearthly color. Was it one craft making a global circuit, or was there an entire fleet, each orb acting like an eye watching over humanity? Far to the west, in the deserts of California, the town of Palmdale found itself under the gaze of yet another mystery. On a warm August night, residents looked up to see multiple lights drifting across the black sky, moving as one. At first, they could have been mistaken for stars, but then they shifted, perfectly synchronized, almost as though dancing in formation. The lights moved with fluid, mechanical precision, turning the quiet desert evening into something otherworldly. No sound came from above. Only the eerie glow of those hovering lights remained, leaving people to wonder. Were these smaller crafts breaking away from a massive, unseen mothership? Or was it one enormous craft, its true shape masked by the darkness? The air felt heavy, like the stillness before a storm, but this storm never came. Only silence and the memory of lights that should not exist. On March 13, 1997, the city of Phoenix became a witness to history. The Phoenix lights were not just lights. They were a colossal formation that stretched across the night sky in the shape of a perfect V. Thousands of people, pilots, residents, families, stood frozen, their eyes reflecting the spectacle above. The lights were steady, brilliant, and vast, each orb as bright as a star but much too low and silent to be anything known. No aircraft, no military exercise could explain a structure this enormous and this silent. The formation glided across the desert sky like a phantom ship, leaving behind an unshakable question: who was flying it? But Arizona's desert was not alone in revealing such secrets. To the north, in the infamous restricted zone of Area 51, cameras captured a scene that still baffles experts. 4 glowing orbs floated above the mountains, each one shining like a miniature sun. They hovered for a moment, then, as if following a silent command, split into 5 smaller lights. What happened next defied every known law of flight. The lights performed a series of synchronized maneuvers, circling each other, diving and rising like fighter jets in a perfectly choreographed show. Yet there were no sounds of engines, no contrails, no explanation. It was as though the sky itself was alive, moving with an intelligence far beyond human understanding. For those who watched, the sight was not just strange, it was unsettling. These were not test aircraft, these were something else. In June 2024, the wide, open sky of Montana became the stage for something that seemed to drift out of another dimension. A witness, filming the sunset, caught sight of an object that moved slowly yet deliberately across the heavens. It was long, cylindrical, like a giant glowing cigar suspended in midair. The metallic surface glimmered softly in the last light of day, reflecting a faint amber glow as though absorbing the sun's final breath. The craft didn't rush. It glided as if scanning every inch of the ground below. Its motion was both unsettling and mesmerizing. There were no wings, no rotors, no visible propulsion of any kind, just a silent and impossible presence. People who saw the footage felt an instinctive chill. It was the kind of object that looked as though it was meant to be seen, like a deliberate show of power. Some asked, was it alone, or was it a scout for something bigger waiting beyond human sight? Half a world away in the humid skies of Papua New Guinea, another witness captured a scene that was less serene, more like a chase. A helicopter tore through the sky, blades whirring furiously, in pursuit of a craft unlike anything built on Earth. The object being chased was rotating, its core surrounded by two thin, cylindrical structures spinning like metallic rings. It was not fleeing with panic. It simply moved with a calm precision, as if it knew the helicopter could never catch it. The footage shows a chilling contrast. The frantic, desperate pursuit of human technology versus the effortless, silent maneuvering of something alien. Moments later, the UFO accelerated and disappeared into the clouds, leaving the helicopter circling aimlessly. Whatever it was, it had no fear of being caught. It simply vanished, like a shadow slipping between worlds. Beneath the waves, mysteries wait that are just as unfathomable as those in the sky. One quiet evening off the coast of Mexico, a group of fishermen saw light rising from beneath the sea. At first, they thought it was a reflection or perhaps a strange trick of the water. But then the glow grew brighter, piercing through the dark surface like a blade of fire. It was not light from above. It was coming from deep below, as if something enormous was waking up beneath them. The fishermen panicked, turning their boat away, yet they could not look away from the camera footage. For a moment, the ocean shimmered unnaturally, as though a metallic presence lurked just beneath the waves. Then, without warning, the light vanished, swallowed by the sea. The water fell still, but the fear lingered. Was there a hidden base under the ocean? Or were these crafts using the depths to move undetected, far from human eyes? The U.S. Navy has encountered these enigmas before. In 2019, warships near San Diego reported being surrounded by glowing UAPs for hours. The radar operators tracked them moving at speeds no jet could achieve, darting and stopping with impossible precision. One pilot described seeing objects appear, as if out of thin air, hovering just long enough to let the sailors know they were there. For the Navy crews, it felt like being observed by something that knew them better than they knew themselves. The lights showed no fear, no hesitation. Some hovered so close to the ships that sailors claimed they could feel a vibration in the air, a soundless hum that rattled the soul. These were not drones, not tricks of light. They were real, intelligent, and uninvited. The sky above Texas has always carried an air of mystery, but on a warm September evening in 2018, it became something else entirely. A group of friends, fresh from dinner, stepped into the night to find 3 glowing orbs hovering silently over the horizon. They were arranged in a perfect triangular pattern, each light pulsing faintly like a heartbeat. There was no sound, no aircraft noise, just the distant hum of crickets and the low murmur of the night. As the group stared, the lights began to move in perfect synchronization, as though guided by a single intelligence. The formation tilted, rotated, then paused midair, holding steady against the wind. It was a dance of precision that no human aircraft could perform. Someone pulled out a camera, the shaky footage capturing not just the lights, but the hushed disbelief in everyone's voices. No one dared to call it a drone. It felt too alive, too deliberate. Far away, over the lush coastline of Puerto Rico, another encounter unfolded. In April 2013, a Customs and Border Protection aircraft recorded something bizarre near Rafael Hernandez Airport. Using an infrared camera, the crew tracked a dark disc-like object flying low and fast over the terrain. At first, they thought it was a bird or a drone, but the craft moved too smoothly, accelerating and decelerating with impossible ease. The disc seemed to twist slightly as it flew, as if adjusting its angle without any visible mechanism. Even more unnerving, when the footage was slowed down, the object appeared to dip into the water for a brief moment before emerging again, all without losing speed. No known aircraft could withstand that maneuver. The footage remains one of the most unsettling pieces of evidence. A machine that moves like something alive, slipping between air and sea as if both were its natural domain. High in the mist-covered mountains of Brazil, early in 2024, villagers reported something far stranger than lights in the sky. They claimed to have seen beings, tall, slender, and glowing faintly, standing near a landing site. These humanoids were described as towering, nearly 10 feet tall, with elongated limbs and smooth, pale skin that seemed to shimmer under the moonlight. Their movements were slow but deliberate, as though they were not in a hurry but simply observing. Witnesses, trembling with fear and awe, described a silence so deep it was almost unnatural. Even the wind seemed to stop. When one villager tried to approach, the beings turned their heads in perfect unison, their black, reflective eyes catching the faint glow of their craft nearby. A single camera managed to capture a blurry silhouette, enough to send waves of panic and fascination across social media. For those who saw them, there was no doubt they were not human. Around the same time, in the deserts of Iraq, leaked footage revealed a phenomenon unlike any conventional UFO. It was dubbed the jellyfish UAP, a glowing, translucent object with a rippling surface, like it was made of liquid light. It hovered silently over a U.S. military operations base, moving not like a machine, but like a living creature, pulsating softly as if breathing. Soldiers on the ground were frozen, weapons lowered, as the UAP drifted across the night sky. Its glow illuminated the base in an eerie bluish-white light, casting long, trembling shadows. Then, without warning, it accelerated vertically, vanishing into the stars as if it was never there. Investigators would later describe this footage as impossible to debunk, because no known technology, human or otherwise, could mimic the way it moved. The sky above us is not as empty as we once believed. Each sighting, each mysterious light feels like a message, one we still don't fully understand. Are these visitors reaching out to us? Or are they simply watching, waiting for the right moment to reveal their purpose? What do you believe? Could these sightings be proof that we are not alone, or are they something even stranger, beyond what our minds can imagine? Share your thoughts in the comments below, because your voice could uncover a piece of this puzzle. If this journey has sparked your curiosity, Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to X-Site, and turn on notifications so you never miss a story that challenges the boundaries of what we know. The truth is out there, and together we will keep searching for it.